Karibu sana mtazamaji katika kipindi hiki cha Mizani ya Afya. Leo tunaangazia hekaya za mafua au ukipenda kwa kimombo common cold myths. Swala ambalo Daktari Adil Waris ambaye ni mtaalamu wa magonjwa ya kifua atatueleza zaidi. Kumbuka, hapa ni nyumbani kwako. Hapa ni TV47 Macho na sauti yetu.
The common cold is like the homa, okay, that what we're used to saying in Kenya per se. And it's probably the commonest reason, Mudeo, you'd bring your child to the doctor. The moms will turn around and say, oh, my child has a bit of a drippy nose. And because you've got this infection, it's usually a viral infection. In fact, it's almost always a viral infection. And with all viruses, you're going to get a fever as well. So the child will come in with a little bit of a runny nose. You will see makamasi and atiririka. The child will have a bit of a fever. And then on the second and the third day, the parents will tell you how the child is coughing quite a bit as well. Sometimes the ear can hurt, sometimes the ear is not hurting, sometimes the child can breathe a bit fast. That is if now the common cold starts getting complicated. So those are some of the things that you need to worry about. So it's caused by a virus, not a bacteria, and so because of that, antibiotics are not indicated. So when you come to the doctor, he'll look at the ears, he'll look at the nose, he'll look at the throat and listen to the chest to make sure that the infection has remained just in what we call in medicine the upper airways, and that it hasn't gone down to the lower airways, i.e. the lungs and the bronchi and these pipes that are lower down in the chest. So once the doctor makes a diagnosis of that, you don't really need to do any blood tests or chest x-rays. You know, Mudeo, we must also try and minimize the pain that we cause our children. So if you come and you're having a runny nose and a cough and a fever, and the doctor takes a look at the throat and makes sure that there's no signs of a bacterial infection, then he'll call it a common cold or a homa, whichever language you prefer to talk in. And then the next step would be, how do we then treat this child? Usually children 0 to 5 years of age, because from 0 to 5 they're not used to the viruses of the world, so they're getting exposed to a lot of them. But after the age of 5 or 6, then a lot of them go down. So the child has got better, the child has got stronger.
Maelezo sahihi. Watoto wengi hupata mafua mara 6 au 8 kwa mwaka. Chanzo cha mtoto kupata mafua hupungua anapofika miaka 6. Dalili kadhaa za mafua ni kutokwa na makamasi, joto mwilini, kukohoa, kufungana kifua, masikio kuuma na mpigo wa moyo.
Common cold simply means that you've been exposed to somebody else who had the virus. So if you're in a daycare center or in a play group, or we remember how we talked in the previous show about going to nursery school too early. I mean, you know, we went when we were 3. There are those who go when they're 2.5. There are those who are going when they're 2. There are those who are going when they're 1. It's not strange, by the way. There are some children who are going for play dates and play groups, and they have all these different names that they use for them, but at the end of the day, it's an institutionalization of the whole process. So contact with a lot of children, not hand washing with them. Imagine you and I in the same room, you have a flu, you rub your nose, you touch your eye, you shake my hand. You shake my hand, I rub my eye, I'm infected. Or your hand has a little bit of your saliva and you touch my table right now and I touch it 10 minutes later and then I rub my eye, I've got it. So hand washing cannot be more emphasized. It's something that you need to keep on working at. So if there's somebody who has a homa in the flu and a flu in the house, yes, keep away from them, but have them hand wash and you hand wash frequently as well.
Tutaenda kwenye mapumziko. Tutarudi baada ya muda usio mrefu. Endelea kutazama Mizani ya Afya. Karibu tena mtazamaji. Unaendelea kutazama Mizani ya Afya.
So if you can allow me to break it up, and we talk about how to look after the nose blocks, then we talk about how to look after the coughing, and then we can finally finish by talking about how to look after the fever. And if you can allow me, we can divide it into that as well. So let's talk about the nose. For the nose, the best thing to do is to get saline nose drops from your pharmacy. Now, saline nose drops means salty water. The parents who are listening and watching to with this show should not go and make the salty water themselves at home. It's a very cheap drug. It costs like 70, 80 Kenyan shillings, and you get a whole bottle that lasts you quite a long duration of time. And then you put the drops into the nostrils 3 to 4 to 5 times in a day for the duration of the child's coma. And that will liquefy the mucus and allow it to drip and come out. And a lot of this mucus then doesn't fall at the back of the throat, causing cough as well. So it can also help reducing the cough at the same time. So that's how we do that. There are lots of medical practitioners who also use antihistamines. There are lots of brands in the market. And this is not meant for us to be controversial. But if you go out into the internet and you look at how you are supposed to be treating the coughs and colds, antihistamines do not form part of it. But you know, mother, when you bring your child to the casualty, you're waited in a line for an hour, you're paying 1,000 or 2 or whatever it is you're paying. The Kenyan parent also wants to go home with something, not just salty water nose drops. So sometimes an antihistamine is given. But if you go through the literature very carefully, you should not be using antihistamines for treating the common cold. It's not indicated. And you know, I always have this joke that when I'm sharing, and I'm sharing with my colleagues and we're learning together, that the nose is 1 inch, half an inch. Some have bigger inches, some have smaller inches. So, you know, Mudel, for a small part of the body, you give saline nose drops and it sorts out this area. Ask yourself, why would you want to drink a syrup or a tablet for you and I, Mudel? It goes into your mouth, into your belly, into your entire bloodstream, into 99% of your body, to cause side effects on 99% of your body when you are trying to treat a 1% part of your body. You're causing so many more side effects. And you know, the only people who are celebrating now, Mudel, are the people who are selling the drug. So the only people who are going to be uncomfortable with this conversation that I'm having with you, Mudel, are the people who are going to participate in remuneration and profit making from the sale of antihistamines. So it's a very sensitive discussion, it's a very controversial discussion, but if university lecturers don't have this conversation with you and with the Kenyan public, who is going to have this conversation? National organizations, the allergy societies of the world, etc., do strongly discourage you from using antihistamines for the common cold. Controversial, but let me tell you what the parent listening to me needs to do is not listen to the people who will come onto the media and say A and B and C. Go onto the internet. It's a very powerful media. Go and Google the websites of the world, or you know, this pediatric association and that pediatric association and the Kenya Pediatric Association, and see what they say about using antihistamines for the common cold. Then you will be strengthened knowing what is right for your children. You know, Mudeo, sometimes in life doing the hard thing is usually doing the good thing. Understand? So putting saline nose drops into a child is very hard work, Mudeo. The child needs to lie down, you put up his hands, you hold him down or her down, you put some drops into the nose, and you have to force, and the kid is fighting you. This is a 2-year-old, 3-year-old who doesn't want to lie down. But do you want to cause more harm or more good? What kind of Kenyan are you going to raise 20 and 30 years ago? And Mudeo, were there antihistamines for you and me when we were growing up with the common cold? Did we die because we didn't have the antihistamine? No. There are many beautiful practitioners in this country who do not use antihistamines for the common cold. Their children are not dying. Okay? So there is evidence to strongly suggest that they should not be used. Okay. So that is the nose.
Yes. Matibabu yanayopendekezwa ya mafua ni mapua yanapofungana, tumia dawa ya kunyunyiza kwa mapua, hali maarufu saline nose drops. Mtoto akiwa na joto jingi mwilini, mpe dawa za kupunguza joto, lakini dawa nzuri zaidi ni kumtoa mtoto nguo na kumpanguza na maji ya vuguvugu, kwa kimombo lukewarm water. Nayo asali ni muhimu mtoto anapokohoa.
Let us come now to fever. For fever, there is something called paracetamol and there's something called ibuprofen. Now these are 2 drugs that can be used for fever. Of course, Mudeo, now you're understanding that you don't want to use 2 drugs if you can use 1. And between the paracetamol and the ibuprofen, It is the paracetamol which is the safer drug. So we always want to work with safe drugs. So if the child is having fever or is in pain, then we give the paracetamol 3 times a day. The pharmacy will give you the dose and the doctor will give you the dose. That is important. But sometimes these children are coughing and they're vomiting as well. So you can get the same paracetamol and put it into the bum of the child as well. So paracetamol exists as a dawa that can be put into the bum. You just have to ask your doctor for instructions and he will guide you. So in case your child is refusing, there is hope for the mom out there. But if paracetamol is not sorting out your child, then there is ibuprofen that you can give your child as well. And again, your doctor will give you instructions on who can get it and who cannot. It's a little bit beyond the realm of this conversation we're having. Your clinician will guide you. But the parent out there needs to know that there are 2 medicines that can be used for fever and pain. I have spared my best for last. Madeo. The best fever medicine on the planet, the best, is that you have your child in front of you naked, head to toe. Maybe the pamper is on, but the child is naked, head to toe. And remember that this child is burning hot. You have touched the child, your child is hot. Then you take a bowl of lukewarm water. I never said hot and I never said cold. I said lukewarm. Then you take a towel, you put it in the lukewarm water and you pangusa, you apply on the entire body of the child, not just the face, not just the forehead, from here till down to the toes and the back and everything. And then after that you allow the child to evaporate dry. Okay? Let me tell you common mistakes Kenyan parents make. We'll put salt in the water, we'll put vinegar in the water, we'll put alcohol in the water, we'll put milk in the water. It might sound strange to you right now, Mudeo, but the listeners out there, they know exactly what I'm saying. Keep things simple. Put nothing inside, save your money, it's unnecessary. Towel, warm water. Second mistake, you only apply on a certain part of the body. Apply on all the body surface area that you can. So the front of my chest, Mudeo, the back of my body as well, Mudeo. Thighs, legs, the works. And then the last mistake parents will make is they don't allow the water to evaporate. They say, tumempangusa, sasa akwe kavu, let's dry the child. There's no point of drying the child. In physics, I don't know too much about it now, but there's something called the latent heat of evaporation. So as the water evaporates off the body surface area, it sucks away the heat and takes it away from the body of the child, which is what you want. So, with my personal family, and even with my patients who I am with, I turn around and say, listen, why don't you do many tepid, it's called a tepid sponge. Why don't you do many tepid sponges the whole night? But don't do the dawas so much. Where was the paracetamols 100 years ago, Mudel? Where were the pediatricians 100 years ago? We were not there. And people were managing, but they just used their knowledge a bit more. So, some fallacies here. If I pangusa my child with warm water and allow to evaporate, my child will be shivering, my child will get a pneumonia. Wrong. Your child will not get pneumonia with that method at all. So it's a very safe and effective way of doing it. And you can do it many times in a day. And that is the best fever reliever. So I started with my worst and I ended with my best.
Tutaenda kwenye mapumziko. Tutarudi baada ya muda usio mrefu. Endelea kutazama Mizani ya Afya. Karibu tena mtazamaji. Unaendelea kutazama Mizani ya Afya.
Mudeo, I'm not the maker of information, I'm the deliverer of information as I learn and as I read, etc. The World Health Organization in 2007 said that cough mixtures do not work for children under the age of 12, 14 years of age. So we don't give cough mixtures. So the next standard question I'm asked is, how come we have cough mixtures in the Kenyan market? And maybe other people who are higher than me might have to answer that question, because that is a little bit beyond me. And I think your viewers might also understand what we are alluding to as we speak as well. So there are different types of cough mixtures in the market. So you know there's something called a mucolytic. It's meant to make the mucus more watery. There's something called an expectorant. It's made to bring out the mucus. There's something called a bronchodilator. It's meant to open up the chest. There's something called an antitussive. It's said that, oh, your child will not cough now when you take this dawa. So there are very many different types of cough mixtures. That's why when you go to the pharmacy, you don't get one cough mixture, you get like 10 of them. The World Health Organization said that none of them work. The American Thoracic Society say none of them work. The British Thoracic Society, the European Respiratory Society, the Australians, the Asians, the South Africans, the Kenya Pediatric Association, the Kenya Association of the Prevention of Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, now it's called the Respiratory Society of Kenya, the Allergy Society of Kenya, every single textbook on the planet, every single textbook on the planet in pediatrics says cough mixtures are not supposed to be used for the common cold. But we give. But everyone now has to understand where they are coming from. You see, we as a university lecturer fraternity have got to pass a message down that if person A and B or pharmacy A and B have given you the cough mixture, why is it not being sold in Europe and America? Why is it not being sold at the Aga Khan University Hospital? Aga Khan University Hospital does not sell cough mixtures. Why? They also want to make money. It's a private organization as well. So in 2007, a lot of Kenyan hospitals pulled out of the cough mixture. And then after 1 or 2 years, because of the influence of, it's a lot of monetary pressure. This is a crazy conversation we're having, you and I, today. But a lot of that influenced them, and so now suddenly everyone is now starting to sell cough mixtures. But the take-home message is how come the leaders of the world in chest medicine and in respiratory medicine are not giving? The world bodies like World Health Organization, that we claim is a very safe organization to deal with, is also saying do not use cough mixtures for children. And you and I have been spending a lot of time saying how they do not work, but we now need to flip this coin over and talk about their side effects. Their side effects include, and this is not for every single one of them, hallucinations, tremors, increase in your heart rate, increase in your blood pressure, seizures, cessation of breathing. The list is vomiting, nausea. The list is shocking. The list is horrible. The list is extreme. I am blessed that I am a chest doctor. And because I do chest medicine, I tend to see Nairobi's worst coughing children. Okay, it is a blessing from the Lord, and I'm thankful. Now, I am seeing the worst of the coughing children in Nairobi or wherever I see. And yet I do not prescribe the cough mixtures, neither have I ever prescribed them in 15 years, etc. You understand? So it is something that the Kenyan parent needs to be very aware of, that if there are other forces in the market that are making other people do things that may be deemed, whatever they may be deemed as, at least let us not victimize the Kenyan parents into this equation as well. If other people are benefiting monetarily, let not the Kenyan parents have their children suffer those consequences. Why is it that in Europe these things are not marketed? They are not even in the shops for you to buy, from the pharmacies for you to buy. Yet we are having them in Africa and Asia. It is, according to me, and I don't mean to be very political here, it's like dumping in the third world, isn't it? I can't sell in Europe and America, so let me sell in a place where I'll get away with it. But are our children substandard children, Mudea?
No.
Is the African child a substandard child? Is the Asian child a substandard child that we need to now give them what is not good enough, what is terrible for children in the West? So it is a very serious conversation I'm having with you. It's a very hot conversation that I'm having with you. According to me, it's not controversial at all. Because if you go onto the internet, and I challenge all the listeners today, I challenge them. Why is it that everybody in the first and the second world do not issue these drugs, yet they're issued in our country? So leave the big players do what they need to do. Let us focus on the common man and the beautiful child that we are addressing today. So we've talked about how cough mixtures don't work. We've talked about they are not useful. We've talked about a lot of crazy side effects today. Okay? Yes. So then any mother's next question out there will be then, okay, fine, Dr. Mudeo, fine. What do we give then?
Yes. What do
If you're telling me not to give A, B, C, D, E, what are you asking me to give? And this is where the beautiful shosho of Kenya comes into play. You see, we do not understand our beautiful history. We scorn our elders. And they are smarter than you and me, Mudeo. We are not a very intelligent population right now. Shosho said, asali, honey. And that's what we follow. A teaspoon of honey 3 times a day. We tend to reserve it for children 1 year and above. So not for the children small, but for the children 1 year and above, you give them asali. Give them a teaspoon of honey 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a day. And let me tell you one last thing. At Aga Khan University Hospital, about 4, 5 years ago, we did a study. I was blessed I was participant to that study as well. And we divided children into A, B and C. A, we gave them honey. B, we gave them a strong cough mixture. C, we gave them something called placebo. Placebo means something that looks like the dawa, but it isn't really the dawa. Okay? A was the honey, B and C. B was the cough mixture, C was the placebo. A did amazingly better than the other two. And the other two were equal. So, we at the Aga Khan Hospital have proven that honey works for the common cold, cough for children above the age of 1. But do you know why you don't hear that? Because there's no money to be made. Big Pharma is a $1 billion industry. Do you think they want to hear a food item has helped the most commonest condition you would come with to hospital? No. I'm putting a target on my back. and this study that I'm sharing with you has been replicated throughout the world. So it's not just a Kenyan thing. Many places in the world are using it. We need to respect our elders. We need to respect our grandmothers. I have this fondness for women. You can see the mother and grandmother are very high up in my heart. We need to respect shosho. Asali, mpatia mtoto wako asali 4, 5 times in a day. You know, the problem is that the Kenyan mom stroke dad nowadays has a medical insurance, has waited in a line for an hour and a half, brought their child to the hospital, and Dr. A and Dr. B are saying, go home with salty water nose drops, wash your child down with lukewarm water, and take asali 3 to 5 times in a day, and pay my consultation fee of 1 or 2,000 shillings outside. You see, that's a bit strange. Because I've sent you home with, guess what, Mudeo? Natural, natural, natural. Who was treating the common cold 100 years ago? Where was the paracetamol? Where was the antibiotic? Where was the cough mixture? Where was all these dawas? We are weak in our body nowadays, and we're getting weaker with time because we are deciding as parents we must treat everything on the planet and give medicines to everybody because I have medical insurance, because I have 100,000 shillings in my bank account, because my child is the most important person on the planet, which your child is, no problem. But isn't every child very important as well? Every child is important. The child on the street is important. Don't you go to the villages of Kenya and the villages of Africa all over the world and you see even the slums of Nairobi city and you see children running around in the streets and makamasi natiririka and they've got a low grade temperature. You think they were taken to the doctor? So it's a fallacy that we need to extract ourselves from. But please remember, as I share with you this important topic, that the common cold can also get complicated. It can also become a pneumonia, it can also become an ear infection, it can also become tonsillitis. And whenever you're not sure, whenever you know you're listening to this broadcast that we are sending out to our parents today, and if you feel your child has a bit more than the homa and things are not making sense, You're not supposed to listen to us right now. You're supposed to say, hold on a second, I'll go to the casualty, let my child be seen. If they say it's a common cold, I'll follow what I've learned today, for example. But if the doctor tells me, no, there's a tonsillitis, there's a pneumonia, there's meningitis, there's whatever it is, fine. We follow the doctor. At the end of the day, we're not preparing the audience to becoming doctors. We're preparing the audience to understand what are safe medicines and what's easy for the mild illnesses at home. If it is a severe illness at home, if it's something a bit more serious, please go to the nearest casualty. If your child is vomiting a lot, go to the casualty. If your child is breathing fast, go to the casualty. If you don't understand what Mudeo and Dr. Waris have talked about today and it's not making sense, no problem. You don't have to understand everything. Go to the nearby casualty, because we've always said that your child is beautiful, that your child is important, and safety stands above all else.
Asante sana kwa kuwa nami kwa wakati huo. Natumai kuwa umejifunza mengi. Nimekuwa nahodha wako Mudheu Mumu. Nitakuacha na msemo kutoka kwa Gillian Michaels unaosema, afya yako ni jukumu lako.